Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Arsenal 2, Newcastle United 0. A comfortable win in the end for the Gunners. A very average and frustrating first half for many Arsenal fans we spoke to at halftime on our space on Twitter, but much better in the second half. The ball moved quicker, better movement from the Arsenal players. The opening goal from Saka, hugely influenced, of course, by Tavares. Brilliant play. The speed, the movement, the one-touch, two-touch football ripped Newcastle apart. An excellent finish from the young and talented Saka really set Arsenal on their way. The second goal from Martinelli, a brilliant cross, of course, from Tomiyasu. The first-time finish, the audacity to even try it was sensational. It was absolutely sensational. And there was calls at halftime in our spaces for why isn't Martinelli playing? Why isn't he getting more game time? One of the most naturally gifted finishers, within his age group. Definitely at Arsenal Football Club. There's no doubt about it. And he took that ball perfectly. It was a wonder goal. It was a brilliant way to round off, a nice early weekend for Arsenal now. Gooners can sit down. They can enjoy every other game that happens this weekend with their feet up. Another clean sheet for that defense. Another clean sheet for Ramsdale. And it was a good reaction after getting beat by Liverpool so convincingly last week. And you watch that. I tend not to judge a football match by the first half. I listen to people's reactions. I got that people were frustrated. But it's always worthwhile waiting before I think you give your overarching thoughts and feelings on a performance based on one half. The second half, Arsenal were 10 times the team they were in the first. They were far more clinical. And Newcastle are the worst team in the Premier League. I think that's a statistical fact as well. They're bottom. They haven't won a game. They've barely scored any goals. They concede a lot. So I kind of look at it a little bit like I wouldn't be, you shouldn't be shocked that Newcastle United were beat by Arsenal. But this was more about focusing on the way Arsenal would respond. They did well. I thought Ramsdale in goal again. Another decisive save in that first half from the shot from Shelvey. Who knows? Does Leno concede that? Maybe not. But maybe he does. And if that ball hits the back of the net, it is a very, very different afternoon for Arsenal, maybe. Their backs go up against the wall. Maybe they lose a little bit of confidence. But they got the job done today in excellent fashion in the end. And you can kind of semi-ignore that first half performance because of what they pushed on to do in the second. They now find themselves joint fourth. I'll be very consistent in my approach. Joint fourth, level on points with West Ham. West Ham tomorrow play City, which they're likely to lose. The goal difference is so steep. There isn't going to be, I think City would have to lose 10-0 tomorrow or something like that, 10-11-0 for Arsenal to overtake them. But they're there on the edge of that top four area. These are the games where Arsenal cannot be affording at all at any point, any moment to drop points. Losing, forget the result and the performance for one moment, losing to Liverpool is expected. When they play Man United on Thursday, they can beat them, but losing to Man United doesn't throw a huge spanner into the works of your season. The performance and the result could, depending on what it is, but the game in itself, it's losable because of the quality. When you're playing Newcastle's, Norwich's, Burnley's, Leeds, Watford's, Aston Villa's, Brentford's, Southampton's, Crystal Palace's, Brighton's, and you're Arsenal, you're expected to win those games. When you're Man United, you're expected to win those games. All those matches are highly winnable. They're beyond what you spend in a year on your wages is often worth more than what some of those club stadiums cost to build. like legit. These clubs should be doing it. So, look, very professional performance in the second half from Arsenal. And, of course, I put my bet on the Bet Victor show on Thursday. Predicted 2-0 Arsenal. Won myself a nice little £45 on that. So that came in nicely. So big up yourselves over there at Bet Victor. It's another correct score. We had 3 or 4 correct scores on the bounce, right? I'm going to go to some calls really soon. We've got Femi backstage. We've got Den. We've got Monty. We've got EGAL. We've got Man Like Gav that we're going to be speaking to very soon. I want to go to some of your comments right now. Remember to get your super chats in and have a go at our secret phrase that's in that golden envelope behind us. But JT Williams says, watching Ramsdale is like watching an artist. Ramsdale is brilliant. There is no escaping it. He is such a top-class player and football player. Although he's in goal, I'm going to refer to him as a football player because I think Ramsdale deserves that. The way he plays, the way he commands his box, the way he distributes, the saves he makes. I know he conceded 4 last week. But it wasn't really his fault. It could have been 8 or 9 without him. Ramsdale, for me, is the signing of the season so far. And if it hadn't been for the brilliance of Mo Salah, 17 goals in 17 games in all comps, he'd be the player of the season right now as well. There's no doubt about it. Ramsdale is, for me, the star at Arsenal at the moment. The star at Arsenal. The reason that Arsenal Football Club are in joint fourth. And I'm calling it joint fourth because last season when United was second and we were level on points, I said joint top. So I keep saying energy. You never see me hypocrisize myself. And if I do, call me out on it and I'll apologize. I don't like hypocrites. Aubameyang is gone mentally is what AMT's got to say. A lot of people had a lot of criticism for Aubameyang today, especially for that miss. He is the one weak factor. He was the one player today, even in the second half, that didn't up his levels. When you've got Saka's and Smith-Rowe's and Ramsdale's and Lokonga's and Tavares, I thought grew into the game very well. He's a bit erratic with his crossing in the first half, improved massively in the second. You have got to get rid of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. You have to get rid. EGAL, remember EGAL on the terrace, getting into a nice little debate with Don Robbie 18 months ago, saying it should happen. And everyone kind of laughing at EGAL. I don't think I did. Maybe I did. I didn't. I think I did on that one. Like, for me, it was a good... I got what he was saying. Get the money and build this squad out. Should have done it. Should have cashed in on him. But that's an area that Arsenal do need to improve on because they need a bit more clinical edge up front. I don't mean I'm not taking anything away from the performance. It was even Man United put 4 past them under Ollie. So it's still, for Arsenal to go to that next level, they do need somebody more clinical. That's more of a long-term look at the football club, as it were. Man like Zane back in the house. I haven't seen you for ages, Zane. Where have you been? Putting a super sticker in there. Hope you're well, brother. Hope you are doing good. We're going to go to some calls very soon. I want to do a few more of your comments first, though. EGAL put Lee Gunner in the mud, is what Troll Uncle's got to say. Listen, the Arteta in, Arteta out debate fluctuates depending on what day of the week it is or what the result's just been. Half time, Arteta outers are rubbing them hands together. Honest to God, you could hear that dry skin could have set a fire, right? Now, it's like Arteta's a genius. I'm just saying, be more Jess. Just sit in the middle of it and just bide your time. You don't need to be so binary always. And I am stealing, that is her phrase, and I'm stealing it because not the word binary. She didn't invent the word binary, but in this context, she did. On current form, Ramsdale is better than Mendy. That's a really good debate to have. I don't know. I don't know if he's better than Mendy, but he is very good. He is very, very good. Mendy's been tremendous as well. But maybe. I have said that he'd be player of the season without Mo Salah. So if I'm going to be consistent with my train of thought, then maybe, yeah, you are right. Do you know what I think he is? Do you know what I think he is? He's having to do more. I know there's the concentration argument that Mendy has to remain more concentrated because he may not have to make a save for 20 minutes. But Ramsdale's pulling off. The save percentage with the amount of shots he's saving is astronomical. It really is. It really is. Ramsdale, definitely one of the top 5 keepers in the Prem this season. Is the phrase winning the league on the final day? The secret phrase isn't winning the league on the final day, but that is a very good guess. Right, we're going to go to our first caller of the day. I'm going to go to Jess, who's here with us all the way from sunny California. Let's go. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very, very well. Background's looking really blurry behind you. I don't know how you've done that. It looks good, though. I know you like that look, so it looks good. Give me your take on that performance and the victory.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I did not like that at all. And I think if there's anybody doing like match reactions or whatever, like the main title or the main conversation all Arsenal fans should be having right now is around the senior players. I can forgive Tavares for shooting and trying to make up for the mistakes that he made against Liverpool. I can forgive Tomiyasu for not being great on the ball all the time. I can even forgive Odegaard a little bit because he hasn't really been playing. But I can't forgive Thomas Partey and Aubameyang for the L's that they dropped today. I mean, how are you going to let Sam be out midfield you, Thomas? How are you going to let that happen? Aubameyang, Martinelli comes straight on and does what you couldn't do, and it's not that Aubameyang, he didn't have very many chances, but he did have more in the second half and still just isn't holding his weight. And so I'm frustrated. Like, I leave the game feeling like, yeah, I'm glad we won, but it just wasn't good enough, and it's not because of the younger players. Like, of course, like, while the game is going on, I'm upset with everybody who takes a bad touch. But when I watch the game more and more, I'm just like, Thomas Partey had the worst game I've ever seen him play in an Arsenal shirt today, because you're playing against Newcastle. You should, even if with a broken leg, you should be able to out midfield them. And he just, every touch he took was bad. He got bypassed in the midfield so many times, and I'm worried. Like, I'm worried. I just don't think that he's getting it. And maybe it was this injuries last season, but I'm starting to think maybe the pace of the Premier League and the physicality is taking him under, because he looks lightweight. He didn't look like that in La Liga. So I know that there's he's not playing with an amazing midfield, but the standards, like Newcastle, are not Liverpool. So you don't have the same, excuses about not having players comparable to Thiago and Fabinho and all of that. What the hell was that? The senior players are just no. And then for me, I said it on that space that this was a perfect game for Martinelli. Why didn't he start? Why do we start with like no players that score goals? Right now, Aubameyang's not scoring goals. Emile Smith-Rowe and Saka, they take turns having one goal each. Martinelli comes straight on and does exactly what somebody who probably should be getting some playing time should be doing, which is go out there and know this was not a masterstroke from Arteta, because our Martinelli could have started that game. I know that some people will say, well, he made the right substitutions. I get that. But Martinelli could have easily started this game. ESR and Saka both did not need to start that game. In the second half, I do think we played a little bit better, mostly due to the individual performance of Bukayo Saka. But there was a lot of people that dropped like 4s and 5s today that are getting the benefit of maybe one or two players just doing a really good job. And I just want to say, like, lastly, that, again, our best players are Ben White, Gabriel, and Ramsdale, by far. Best players. They just are.
And look, you are building a much more resolute team that's hard to break down and get beat, especially when you're playing teams in kind of from sort of an 8th, 9th and below, which is very important as well. Like I've said before, you should never scoff at those improvements. That a lot of these teams were nicking results and draws against you last year. But I think you are spot on when you're looking at this objectively, and you remove yourself from the result for a moment and look at certain performances. If Arsenal, for me, are going to finish in a top 4 place and after this season become more competitive, your senior stakeholders need to be putting in better performances. You cannot rely on kids to, there was that quote that people will throw the quote back in the wrong way, where they'll say, well, Alan Hansen famously said about Man United, you can't win anything with kids. People forget how good that core of Pallister and Bruce, Eric Cantona, etc., Roy Keane were, Peter Schmeichel in goal, that were built around at the strikers we had in terms of the Andy Coles and the Brian McClares at the time. Those guys were a solid, top-class domestic and European spine. And I think that kind of, do you understand where I'm coming from? That's what Arsenal now need to add to this plethora of young talent, is an abundance of quality. Bringing in a top-class striker. Partey was meant to be that senior guy in the middle. There's no doubt, and he hasn't done that. The thing with your young players is young players that are inconsistent by nature, and they will hit strides in this season where they hit a bit of inconsistency. And if your big boys are not ready to carry them through that, you may struggle. So I completely agree with you in relation to that. But Saka looks like he's picked up a knock now. You would expect Martinelli to get that start against Man United if he's out injured, or do you think he won't?
No, it's going to be Lacazette and Aubameyang and Emile Smith-Rowe and Odegaard. It's going to be something. It's going to be something. It's always something. Like, Martinelli should start against Man United, but I don't think he will. He'll go into something weird and galaxy brain it. It's not that difficult. just even things out and balance it. I cannot believe that, like, he didn't think to start Martinelli in this game. It's just annoying, but there's so it would seem obvious to start Martinelli, but I can see him doing something weird and manipulating the group so that he can keep him out and keep more senior players on. But Lacazette and Aubameyang are just not optimal type of striker duo. Like, it's just dead. It's just dead. Like, I'm going to go back and watch the game, but I'm not feeling good about it. I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy that at all.
I hear you on that. Are you shooting off to do something now, or can you stay backstage for a little bit for us? What are you doing?
I can stay for a little bit longer.
Cool. We're going to do some more calls. I want to bring a few of you on together to talk about a few other points. I'll speak to you in a bit. Cheers, Jess. Thank you very much indeed. Next on the show, I'm going to go to Gav. Gav is here with us. He looks like he's in the radio studio. How you doing, bro?
I am, mate. Thank you very much for having me on. I was trying to keep hearing what you guys are saying, and I was doing my little previews for the show for the 3 o'clock games as well. So I was like, wrap it out. But we're here now. We're good. We're living life.
Yeah, mate. Give me your thoughts on the game.
Tough. I did say this a little bit on the terrace the other night as well, and like the 12:30 games are always difficult to try and call. In the first half, I felt that it was all Arsenal domination with no end product. And how many times have we seen this and or said this over the last few years? You know, Arsenal don't really know how to close games out. And the way that the game was panning out, I was getting a bit panicky. But that last 3-4 minutes of the first half, we saw a bit of an injection into Arsenal, and I was like, okay, can we carry that energy into the second half? And for me, I think we did. And with that, we were able to get the goal, which I thought was really well taken by Saka. Arsenal fans have been crying out for Martinelli to get some game time, and we finally saw it. And his first touch of the game resulted in the goal and put the game to bed. So there are still a few cracks that we need to paper over, but can't complain with a clean sheet and a win to start our weekend.
Mate, absolutely. I hear you on that completely. And it's kind of what you said in the preview building up to this game. Brother, I really appreciate you calling in and having your say. Really, and I know you're at work as well. So I'll speak to you again soon, mate. Cheers, Gav. Top man. Thank you. Next on the show, Gal is to come soon. We've got Brandon. We've got Gooner Express. I'm going to go to Monty because I messed up with Monty earlier. I asked him to come on. I also wanted him to come into the studio. He ended up going to the studio in London. We're not there. So I need to get him on have his say right now. How's it going, brother? You're on mute, my friend. Unmute that line for us. Unmute that line.
Can you hear me now? Is that better?
We go. Yes,
is that better?
Yes.
Yeah, mate. I'm not too bad. I'm currently in a Starbucks at the moment, just down the road. But no, it was good. It was all good. I think, I can't remember who was on just now, but like, I feel like a lot of Arsenal fans just love to find the little details, but really in a whole, the game was all right. I think the first half it was slow. Structure was there, the passing was there, it was just slow. That was the only difference, and the only thing that I've sort of noticed from it is that I feel like the younger players are too scared to sort of make a mistake. And so because we know what Arteta's like. I mean, he just dropped Tierney for Nuno Tavares when he just threw a stinker. So a lot of people don't really have that sort of security in their position, I don't feel. And when we saw like Sambi do that pass to Saka the first half, if we do that more, we score more goals because we're not quick enough. We're just not quick enough. And I think, like people say, we're like Aubameyang, is he finished? He's not finished. If you actually watch the game, he actually did more sprints than Alex Saint-Maximin the whole game, but no one passed to him. No one released him, not once. Did he get a ball through for him to go and do the ball? If Sambi does that ball to Abba, he gets through. He gets through. So I feel like there's pinches of salt to take. Yes, we could have done better. Yes, we should have scored more. Yes, 100%. 100% agree with that. But what I do like is the structure and the way that we play. But the thing that takes time, and because of the age of the players, it's the speed, it's the togetherness, it's the sort of the glue between the players, and that happens just with time. It just does. And I feel like Arteta noticed that in the first half, and you saw it second half. Like he was telling the fans to come on. He got them going straight away, and it was about speed. I think he just said to them, just take some risks. Just take some risks. Open up the game a bit, you know? Because I feel like everyone's a bit too secure to try and like pass that little safe pass to the left, and they want to keep their passing stats up. Whereas in reality, we need those cross the field balls into the box, like on the back post. And we did that. We did that in the second half, and we got more chances. Gabriel Martinelli got opened, which what Abba was doing. He was doing that run all game. He was doing the same run all game, but didn't get it. But then Tommy actually thought, I'm going to release Gabby. And it was a fantastic touch. I'm not going to take anything away. I think Gabriel Martinelli is a fantastic player. He should be starting. But it was just a fantastic structure. And it's the way that we're supposed to play. And it's something that's like not even new. A lot of people go, so like you got your league gunners that just chat absolute wass and talking about they can't see the project, they can't see what this players. It's like, well, watch football and you'll understand. It's clearly a reason. What we're trying to do is tiki-taka, gegenpress with positional play, but people don't want to talk about that. But now that the team is now together, I feel like we're getting better. It's going to take time. It's not perfect. I'm not going to say that was a 10 out of 10 performance. It just wasn't. It's a tale of two halves. It was a 3 in the first half, wasted opportunities, and about a 7 in the second. But as a whole, I'm happy with it. It was another clean sheet. Ramsdale is, in my opinion, probably, like as you said earlier, one of the best player in the league at the moment. Him and Mendy are just in a league of their own. The Gabriel White, I don't know what they put in their water, but they're just beasts. They're just absolute beasts. With Thomas Partey, Sambi sitting that little block in the front. Man, I'm happy. I'm happy as an Arsenal fan. I'm pretty happy with that game. I'm not going to get disappointed, neglected on it. It's just, what's the point? 2-0.
And I hear you on that, mate. I really, really do. Listen, we'll be getting you back in that studio again. Oh, he cut himself off there. I'm not too sure where he went. But thank you very much, Monty, for coming on and having your say. We're going to bring a little panel out a little bit later because I want to talk about the game. I want to maybe challenge each other a bit. I do want to talk a bit about the Man United game coming up next week as well. I know you're all interested in that. So stay with the terrace. Monty, thank you very much for coming on, mate. And we'll get you back in that studio soon. He's backstage again now. Top man. Smash the like button, ladies and gentlemen. Up next on the show. He's had a little bit of a holiday. He's been away. He comes back refreshed. You know what time it is, people.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I need a girl to ride. I need a girl to make my wife. I need a girl who's mine, oh mine. I need a girl in my life. I need a girl to ride. I need a girl to be my wife. Nobody else, she's all mine. I need a girl. Yeah. Yo, I'm internationally known on the microphone.
EGAL's in the house. Welcome back from your holiday. You said at halftime in the space on Twitter that you would blow them away in the second half. You'd score the goals, no problems. You were right.
What was the scoreline that I said?
I think you said 2-0.
There you go.
I predicted 2-0 as well, to be fair. I won a nice little 45 quid with Bet Victor. I think it was Patrick again, 2 weeks running has picked the right score. But go for it, mate. What do you want to say?
There you go. Look, Terry, to be fair, I'm not happy with the overall performance of the game, but you know what? I'm happy with the result. It's a results business. I'm happy with the result. We need to start getting better. We need to start getting better performances throughout the 90 minutes. We haven't had really good games throughout the 90 minutes, except for the Aston Villa game. Even the Spurs game was not a full 90-minute performance, but Gabriel Martinelli, for me, is the biggest talking point of this game. When it comes down to it, Gabriel Martinelli needs to start against Manchester United. Mikel Arteta, you have to start Gabriel Martinelli versus Manchester United on Thursday. Is it on Thursday? I'm assuming it's on Thursday. But we definitely need to see Gabriel Martinelli get his opportunity. This is Gabriel Martinelli's opportunity now. He needs to take it by the scruff of the neck. If Saka is actually injured, I don't want to see us going back to the 4-4-2 versus Manchester United and doing other stuff. I want to see Gabriel Martinelli somehow in this game. If he's on the left, if he's on the right, wherever you put him, I want to see Gabriel Martinelli involved in this game. Even if you're going to go with the 4-4-2, I want to see him up there with Lacazette or Aubameyang. And now, getting on to Aubameyang's miss. Terry, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say about Aubameyang, guys. Aubameyang, in my opinion, he is lacking form, lacking creativity. He scored a goal the past couple games, but like it's very sad to see how much he's declined. And like he's getting opportunities, but it's not clear-cut opportunities. I don't know what to do with Aubameyang right now, but I think maybe just take him out the firing line. Maybe not even start him versus Manchester United. Put in Lacazette and Martinelli up to as a front two. Do something different. I don't know. I just don't see Aubameyang getting back into the form that he was in when he first joined us, and that's a big talking point to talk about also. If Saka,
definitely. Go for the Saka. Yeah, on Saka. What would you do if he's out and missing for the United game? What do you do?
if Saka's out, it's gonna be a big blow, but we definitely need to find other options regardless, because we have too much of a dependence on the youngsters. We need to find another way to create and get goals without depending on Saka and Smith Rowe every game, because they're gonna have off days, and this is now a way for this is where Mikel Arteta makes his money. He needs to find a way to tinker and find something to do in this lineup to get Saka to replace Saka's output. Because Saka can produce on the left, as we've shown today. And if you're going to do that, who's going to play on the right? Could it be Pepe? Could it be Martinelli? We need to find out. Because Martinelli today was instant impact. I think you maybe start him and you put Emil Smith-Rowe on the other end. And yes, I know I'm going 100 miles a minute, guys, but like I'm just kind of gassed. I'm happy we won. I'm not gonna come out.
Of course, you're happy you won. You've got to be happy that you won. I am listening. I'm editing something at the same time. You have to be happy that you won. And I think there's a big conundrum now what you do in this Man United game. The Manchester United game has taken a new kind of twist and turn with Ralph Rangnick coming in. Depending on the performance United give against Chelsea tomorrow is going to maybe increase confidence or decrease confidence amongst Gooners as well. But you were spot on about the result. I'll bring you back out with a panel real soon, EGAL. Top man. Thank you. I'm going to get Dem on the show in a minute because we've got KJ, Jess, Curran, EGAL, Brandon and Gooner Express that are going to come out soon. But Den's here with us now. What are you saying, buddy? You're on mute, my friend. You're all muted up.
Good to see you, man. Long time overdue. Yeah, I'm happy with that. To be honest, I think EGAL touched many good things. I thought Sambi and Tavares really showed themselves after last week, obviously against Liverpool. You know, I think they had a bad performance, but then again, it was always going to be tough. They were up against bigger fish in the pond. I thought Aubameyang, yeah, I mean, I touched on this the other day, and I think many people have been. He just seems completely lost. I don't think we're going to see a peak in him ever again. I thought overall first half, I mean, I said we'd win 2-0 and yeah, that job got done. I think first half was a bit of a slippery slope. Ramsdale kept us in it, another magnificent save. Like he's really making people eat humble pie. I thought Ben White and Gabriel, they did a good job today, but they didn't have too much to do prior to the 45 minutes. You know, in the second half, we seemed to click into gear and get things going. As soon as we got the first goal, we were going for a second, which Arsenal don't do very often. So I think that was good to see, you know, something different. But yeah, Martinelli, I agree. He's got to be put back into that team. Saka, prior to today, I don't think he was doing too much. So the fact that he got a goal today, hopefully that'll start on what it means to go on. He really needed a confidence boost. Like we're seeing it in England shirts, England colours. I'm glad we're seeing it now in an Arsenal shirt. And he deserved that goal. He was one of the best players in the pitch, if not the best. Odegaard, I think he was all right. I'll give it to Odegaard. I think he was good. It was good to see him get some game. I was surprised by Lacazette not being sort of kept in the team. I thought he would have been the last man standing if I was to sort of put someone out of the game. But yeah, overall, can't complain, mate. No negatives whatsoever. First half was a bit dull, but yeah, Arteta said the right things at the right time by the sounds of it.
No, I hear you on that. I think he did, and they had that little kick, that little spurt at the beginning. And do you know what they start? Arsenal tend to start the first 20 minutes of every half. Arsenal tend to start well. Take the Liverpool game out of it. It's about putting those. What I would have feared for Arsenal, if I can say that as a Man United fan, is if you hadn't have scored those goals, that's where your games become a real kind of 50-50, a bit of a coin toss when you don't score in those real strong moments that you have. But you managed to do that today. You put the ball in the back of the net twice, and the game was over then. We knew Newcastle weren't going to score. Then, listen, top man for coming on and having your say. Really appreciate it, brother. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Panel coming really soon. With us first, Brandon is here. Looking happy, sad. I don't always know with him. What are you saying, bro? What are you saying?
I'm not sure we've been watching the same game, to be honest with you. I just heard that geezer say Odegaard was good. Really? I think the result was good, Terry. At the end of the day, after last week's drubbing against Liverpool, we needed to get back to winning ways. However, it is Newcastle. They are bottom of the league. I thought performance level, though, it's still not quite there. we're lacking something. We really are. A bit of cohesion in attacking areas, definitely. I mean, in that first half, awful, awful, awful. It was probably one of the most boring halves of football I've ever watched in my life. And it's like, it's so slow, so lethargic at times. And Odegaard, especially, you know, he's supposed to be this creative spark. And the amount of times I watch this geezer pick up the ball in a good area, and I'm thinking, right, just drive at the defence now. Drive at their defence, get yourself in the box where nobody can touch you. And he's playing it sideways, backwards, and it's just slow, lethargic, just crap. And I'm like, well, you know, we've got to come out and play better in the second half in order to, you know, get the points. And yeah, fair play. You know, we come out, we score 2 goals. But I just, especially Aubameyang, I think we've got too many passengers at times in our team. It's ridiculous. Aubameyang has just become a passenger. A few seasons ago, he was one of the most lethal strikers in Europe. I don't understand what has happened to him. You know, it just doesn't make any sense. But aside from that, it's a good result. But at the same time, Terry, I'm kind of worried about Thursday. I really am. Because we failed the test last week for me. You know, last week was the test against Liverpool to see how far we've come in our progress under Mikel Arteta. And we just kind of capitulated. And although Manchester United are in a difficult situation at the moment, and, you know, they've got a new manager coming in, I think I look at that first half today, and if you want any sort of clear idea of how to play against this Arsenal side, it's just watch that first half against Newcastle. We struggle to break teams down. If Manchester United stay tight and compact, and basically how Newcastle were today, there's no doubt in my mind that Manchester United will catch us on the counter attack with the attacking players that they have. And that's the other thing as well, Terry. Newcastle didn't offer anything apart from 1 or 2 shots from John Joe Shelvey from about 30 yards. Apart from that, they didn't offer anything. So for me, if Manchester United play a similar way to what Newcastle did in that first half today, it would be a completely different result to what it was today. You know?
And I do hear that, and I do sympathise with some people that are looking at some elements of the performance from Arsenal, and they've still got that concern. And I think that improvement of performance you're talking about is a difference between finishing in the top 6 and finishing in the top 4 when we get to the end of the campaign. That's just my view as it stands right now, because we still haven't seen those top performances and consistent performances against the best. And it will be sometimes your record against the big 6 is the difference between you making it into the top 4 and sitting just underneath that. And by the way, coming 6th or 5th for Arsenal this season, I still think it's an improvement and a step change for the club. It's what you then, but then it's about, for me, it's what you then do after that. Being 8th 2 years running, expecting to jump straight into the 4th, I think it's too much in one season.
I disagree, Terry. I disagree. I look at the fact that Mikel Arteta has been in the job for 2+ years now. He's got all his players. These are all his players. I keep reiterating this point. These are all his players. He's implementing that style of play. I know we've got a young squad, but there can't be excuses for not getting in the top 4. We haven't got Europe. Manchester teams like Liverpool and Man City and Chelsea, you can say you can sort of hold your hands up and say, look, they're miles better than any of the other teams in the league this season. But Manchester United, even with a new manager coming in, with the fact that they've also got European football as well, Tottenham don't look great. Why can't we get in the top 4? Do you know what I mean? Like, we should be getting in the top 4.
Maybe you're right, bro. Listen, we're going to get the panel out now to have their say. Listen, we're getting a bit of echo from your end as well. But my brother, thank you very much for coming on. Really appreciate your opinions, mate. And we'll speak to you again soon. Listen, smash that like button for us right now. We're going to go through. I want to speak about one big thing on my mind right now is I've just seen on socials Arteta out trending. There's a lot of gooners pushing that after a 2-0 win at home against Newcastle. I want to ask the panel as to why they think that is. I do want to touch on their thoughts, especially the gooners ahead of the Manchester United game. We will have a number of different types of previews next week in the build-up to it, of course, as the dust settles and everything else. We are live today after Liverpool-Southampton as well, so stay with the terrace. Let's bring the panel out now, people. Let's do this. Where's my button? There it is. I found it. The slowest I've ever been hitting the buttons. I could not get them clicked in time. But there we go. How are we all doing, people?
All good, buddy.
Doing good.
Good, good. All right, first question. Karan, I'm going to go to you first. Why is Arteta out trending? I'm confused.
Because people are butthurt that we won 2-0. I don't understand either, but it is what it is. Cool. If you want to call for Arteta out after 2-0 win, I'm really happy for you. I really hope you find happiness in your lives. Good for you, mate.
No, fair enough. Good to express. How about yourself, mate? I mean, are you shocked to see that trending when you've won a game?
To see it trending, yes. I think I'm not gonna lie. I think a lot of the tweets are actually people who are Arteta in, sending for people who are Arteta out, obviously making it trend. But look, people being Arteta out, I don't see the issue with that. I think if you're doing this flip-floppery where you go from Arteta in to out, if you're Arteta out after this game, like in terms of, you know, if you're going game by game, that's weird. We won. We kept a clean sheet. I don't know exactly what the biggest issue is. There are things that were wrong with this game, but, you know, to call for the manager out being the first thing you do after the game, I think it's a bit weird because we won. So, yeah, I don't get why it's trending in that case. But, yeah, you know, we won the game. So I don't know why people are so upset.
Yeah, I hear you on that. Liverpool, by the way, 1-0 up Jota after 70 seconds or something like that. So Liverpool on their way to victory again today. I wanted to ask the panel as well. Something Jess said that she brought up around happy with the win, of course, but concerned about the level of performance on almost a consistent basis now from the senior players in the team. Is that an issue for you, EGAL? Is that an issue for you?
I currently agree with Jess, what she said there, because the senior players have been completely diabolical majority of these games. We've been depending on the youngsters majority of these games, pulling it out from the bag. So they need to raise their levels. And is it an issue where Aubameyang might be like near decline, or what's going on? Like, I don't know what's going on with Partey, but when it comes to Aubameyang, I've raised my concerns about him in the past. The Partey thing seems more like the personnel around him are not up to his standards. Let's be real. When he's playing next to Xhaka, he looked a lot better. When he's playing next to Lokonga and Ainsley Maitland-Niles, he's more or less doing more work than them. And that's maybe what I'm putting it next to. The lack of experience around Partey makes him perform worse, maybe. That's what I'm thinking.
Can I just add something there? Like, when against Liverpool, I can understand why Aubameyang and Thomas would struggle a little bit more, because you need almost the perfect scenario for that to go right for them to against that level of opposition. But against Newcastle, John Joe Shelby, I don't even know who else is in their midfield. I just feel like, regardless of the scenario, even if it's not the perfect CDM next to you, Thomas should be able to influence the game a little bit more. And I get that he was playing in the deeper role, which is something that I don't think he thrives in. But let's just be real. He was poor on the ball. Most of the balls that I saw him try to pass did not go to a red shirt. And I don't know how we can look at that as like, okay, well, it just wasn't the perfect scenario for him. Playing against Newcastle at home is a perfect scenario. Next to a Sambi that's playing well, it is. You know, so he's not doing enough. And it makes me worried going into the Manchester United game, because poor against Liverpool and then turn around and be poor again against Newcastle. Aubameyang has been poor for a while, and we've given him a lot of like, okay, again, needs the perfect scenario, needs the right type of this, needs the right type of that. He had at least 4 chances today. Didn't get any of them in the back of the net. Again, there's like, what, 500 grand a week to both of those players? You know, there's two of our highest paid players. Like, there's no excuses. It's Newcastle. You know, I'm worried about them because inevitably that means Bukayo Saka and ESR have so much pressure on them. I can't even look at them anymore. It's literally the senior players that are taking, like, literally doing nothing. And I know we want to know, but like, we can still look at the micro parts of it and say, like, if they don't step up, I think that's the difference between getting top 4/top 6 is if those players don't step up. Our young players are going to have bad moments soon, and those players are not doing anything.
What I think what's key is, like you say, sustainability within performances. Man United, a bit like Spurs with Nuno, Man United with Oli, won a fair number of games this season. We saw us do it, but the performances or certain elements, you're still looking at it going, We still conceded too many really good chances. David De Gea pulled off 4 or 5 saves as an example, or this particular midfield player just isn't good enough and gets bypassed too easy. Better teams are going to beat you. And I think, and I'm being blunt, when you're Man Uniteds, when you're Arsenals, when you're any of the teams that spend what we spend on players, what we spend on salary, I do think you can celebrate a result, but equally nitpick around what you need to do to maintain a certain level of output, as in points and where you are in the table. I want to ask KJ, obviously a good victory today for Arsenal. No one's taking that away from them. 2 exceptional goals. When you watch the way they play today, though, how are you feeling as a Man United fan, knowing that in 5 days' time we go up against them at Old Trafford?
Not going to lie, I'm still worried. Because what I saw is, yes, maybe the attack was floundering at times, but in the second half they responded and got the 2 goals, and very good goals at that. Both of them were quality. And then you've got the defensive side where they got back in numbers. I saw Newcastle break multiple times, and all I saw was Arsenal players just running back, and then getting their shape. Man United have been struggling against low blocks and teams that are defensively sound this season. So for me to sit there and say after this performance, it's going to be an easy breeze. No, like that would be a lie. Arsenal are building something, and they're building something good by the looks of it. The young players are playing well. Yes, we all know the issues are with the senior players and the older players, but you got January coming up, which can get fixed and maybe make some swaps right there, like maybe Lacazette for Lahovic or something like that. So going into this game, I'm going to be concerned that we're not going to have the rumours are we might not have Ralph Rangnick in the dugout. So it's not like he's going to have the true new manager bounce that we expect him to have. Michael Carrick might still be in there, and so we don't know with Man United. We don't know what Man United we're going to get. So Arsenal can easily beat us on Thursday, and they've shown that in the past 2-3 years that we just can't get past them.
How about yourself, EGAL? I mean, are you concerned about the performances in the last 2 games going up against United, maybe with managerial bounce, or do you want to get the Chelsea? You want to watch how they do against Chelsea first before you kind of now you're flagged to the mast, as it were?
I want us to look at ourselves and take a look at what we've been doing against the top teams over the past this year. We went up against Liverpool, we performed terrible. We went up against Tottenham, we performed very good. I don't want to see us having mixed performances. This game against Manchester United on Thursday, I want to see us go away from home and try to make sure we can hold on to possession as much as we can and try to play our game. If we go in there and respect you guys too much and play the occasion, we're going to lose. And that's I don't want that to happen. I just want to go in there. I'm not focused on Manchester United's situation. I'm looking internally, and I'm saying if we play to our best of our abilities, we can get a result. I'm not worried about Manchester United and what they're doing. I'm worried about what we're doing because our issues are internal. It's not about our opponents.
Yeah, no, listen, I hear you on that. I think that's sensible. I'm with KJ. I wanted to bring it up because we'll do proper previews next week. But yes, we've got the new manager, but Arsenal have been kryptonite for Man United for what feels like 2 or 3 years now. The way you play just has an effect on our players. Very similarly to how, for whatever reason, as bad as Ollie was, he, more often than not, got good results against one of the best teams in the world of the past 4 or 5 years in Pep Guardiola's City. It was almost inexplicable how he could do that regularly, even though he lost a few. So I am a little bit worried the way you play, the way you shut up shop, etc. And defensively, you're better than ever. Normally, when we played Arsenal up until this season, I've always looked at you and thought, yeah, you've got some dangerous men up front, but you can be got at. I don't know if you can be got at by Man United yet. We're not Liverpool. We're not Chelsea. We're not City. So yeah, I'm certainly nervous ahead of that game. There's no doubt at all. No doubt about it. How about yourself, Curran? I mean, are you worried there could be any performance hangover from today? Or is that just a different game, different scenario, almost ring fence from today?
Look, I want to push back on this whole, it was a terrible performance. I understand that it was slow and lethargic in the first half, and I understand that. But the fact of the matter is, if you see how many players Newcastle had behind the ball, every man was behind the ball. You had to have patience, try and tease open a block. And when you're playing against a low block, you've got to look for players tiring, players getting out of position, trying to find the perfect pass to get through that block. So I really don't think it's. I mean, I understand people were. I was upset about that Aubameyang miss. I think that was a ridiculous situation. I don't see us being. It was like a terrible first half, great second half. No, it's just how the game progressed. I feel like that was the plan going into it, looking to try and wear them down, trying to get the 3 points that way instead of going blitz like we have been in the past and then try and sit back. This is the team to go and try and sustain some pressure, get to move on. And when you talk about Thursday and you look at what's going to happen on Thursday, I want to watch this game with Chelsea because I want to see how much Ralph Rangnick is putting on this gegenpress style onto this United team straight away. Is it an immediate change from the cameras and everything, and what he's trying to put into the staff that are at the club right now? Or is it a case where it's taking time and he's going to try and play a better version of Ollie ball, basically? Because if you try to press us high and there's spaces behind, I do feel like I'll be much more comfortable. So I'm not really, I'm not worried, I'm not unworried. I need to see what this United team looks like before I can say either way, oh, this is what's going to happen. I need to see it first.
Ragnick's tactics aren't going to be implemented in the
This
Chelsea
is what I'm
game.
saying.
Or even your game against you guys. It's just not like he's not even in the building yet. You know what I mean? He's been watching our training sessions and he's getting enough feel and an idea for the players he can use and how he can shape them. But he ain't on the phone to Carrick saying, "Oh yeah, do this, do that," and the third, and that's how we're gonna set up. Like he's not doing that, bro. You know what I mean?
I want to see it. I want to see it.
Let me just push back on what Curran said. Curran, I felt like this performance was not great. The results great, but the performance overall was not great. Like we had majority of the ball. They gave us majority of the possession.
That's fine.
We were at home. We should be able to create more clear-cut chances. We should be able to get in better attacking positions. And until the second goal, I did not feel comfortable that we were obviously I felt like they weren't going to end up scoring, but I always felt like they still had an opportunity to be still in the game. Until we got the second goal, I wasn't comfortable. And it almost felt like the game that we had against Norwich. I know Norwich were a lot more attacking, but it's similar type of situation. We need to finish off these teams that are lower down the table. We should need to be able to end these games early in the game so we can focus on resting these guys, because now the games are going to be coming thick and fast. We're not going to have a 3 game in 1 month like we did in November. We're going to have games coming quick, and we need to get ready for that.
Well, this is also, I suppose this is a really interesting point as well. As bad as we've been playing almost 2 games a week the majority of the season. Arsenal haven't. And one of the things a lot of you Gooners said is your rationale for maybe making top 4 was 1 game per week. So it is a new test to how you play, how you're able to play 2 games in a week. What's the rotation going to be like? And maybe not so much the result of the United game, but then what happens when you play again on Sunday, only 3 days later. So it's going to be an interesting. I'm excited now. This is the time of the season I love the most, where the games become thick and fast. And it isn't just about how good you are and how good your individuals are. It's the manage. This is where your managers earn their money. How do they rotate? How can they bring people in? There's a lot of criticism I see from Gooners around you're not playing enough rotation with Saka and Smith Rowe starting all the time. How much is he now going to implement? Are those players ready to come in? I'm not making an assumption. I'm just saying there's lots of things to kind of be discussed and digested in relation to that. But look,
Martinelli has to start, Terry.
He does.
I completely disagree. He has to play him. If he doesn't play him, that is a criminal offense.
I said he has to play him, but do I think he's going to? I don't know.
I think Saka will force it, to be honest. Like, if Saka's not there, what will happen is probably we'll go Odegaard right wing, ESR 10, and Gabby left, and then Alba up front.
New manager. New manager bounce update. Aston Villa just gone 1-0 up.
I love Stevie G. I love Stevie G. I really hope they do well with him.
It's an even game, but no, like I hear the whole like, okay, well, we won the game, so it is what it is. But there's always smaller conversations we can have about whether or not we think certain parts of what we're doing is going in the right direction. And I just don't understand how it takes us 45 minutes, especially against Norwich, Watford, and now Newcastle at home. It seems like it takes us 45 minutes or so to start combining at the top of the box. I want to believe that it's just how the game is going, but I just feel like there's not a lot of players imposing themselves on the game, and then we lack composure, and then it takes us a while. And I'm not sure I don't see that from every single team that plays these lower level oppositions. I see it from us. So I just would like to see it happen a little bit sooner, because it was pretty obvious that if we just combined, we would beat them.
To
But we were
be
so
fair,
far
you're
away,
good.
just slamming the ball into the box, like, or taking weird shots, like Tamiyasu and
Tavares.
Tavares.
To be fair, you
That
guys
first
will
half.
get more chances against us than you probably would against Newcastle because we will be open. Maguire will be back, and he's on like the worst form of his life.
Varane's not back. No,
yeah,
Maguire
not
will
back,
be
so
there.
like,
Look, I'm looking for. I do agree. Back to Jesse's point, I do agree that again. These are the. Do you know what's interesting? I think, and I know I called Jess out on this a few weeks back, like in a bit playfully over Twitter around. I think when Brentford got a result against West Ham, it's like I told you they'd be hard. I don't really feel with the money our club spend that's ever an excuse. United have less of an excuse than Arsenal because our squad on paper is certainly better in my opinion. So I'll stay true to that. But when you play these relegation riddled sides, it's every now and then there are these shock results or shock performances against them, but you should be more dominant, more clinical, more cutting edge against them when you spend what you spend. And I think that should be irrespective of being on a trajectory on the way up. You should still be dominating them. You know, we spoke about the Brentford game as an example. You spent more on a couple of players than it cost them to redevelop their stadium. That for me should be the standards that we hold our clubs to. All of us should be holding our clubs to that. And people always think I'm picking at Arsenal. I hold my club to an even higher standard because we spend more than you. So I totally agree. But look, it's going to be a big week building up to that game, no doubt. We've got more match reactions today from the Liverpool game. Big show coming out later, discussing lots of rival fans discussing the impact that Ralph Rangnick may have on Man United. Big show tomorrow, building up to the Man United-Chelsea game. A special Bet Victor edition of the top six, building up to that game. And a massive match reaction. Adam Charles, Lies, Neeks, maybe a certain female Chelsea fan in the studio as well. I'm not going to say who. You know who she is. She's on the channel a lot. But maybe just got to try and work that out in there for the big match reaction show tomorrow as well. Do me a big favor before you leave. Smash that like button. Subscribe. Go check all these people out on their different social media accounts. EGTV. Of course, Jess's channel. She Knows Arsenal. Guna, do you have a YouTube account?
Yeah, I do. Just the Guna Express on YouTube.
There we go. Guna Express is easy and current. Let everyone know where they can find you, brother.
You can find me at Twitter at CurrentBFP, or you can subscribe to us on YouTube at Ball of a Passion. So
we know where you can find KJ. So. Absolutely, you can find KJ on the Football Terrace, where he is. This is home. This is where he's at. Listen, until next time, everyone, take care. Goodbye. God bless, and we'll